Let's face it, this Ghost-style Zoroark is some of the best Holowear they've put out in Pokemon Unite. In fact, the Battle Pass reward Holowear in this game is always really sick. That's why this week's tier list is a tier list based on the top tier Holowear inside of Pokemon Unite. We've had too many tier lists about competitive viability. It's now time to rank one of the most important aspects, and that is all of this high quality Holowear. Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yeehaw! And it's Monday. On Mondays, we do tier lists. And on Wednesdays, we wear pink.
Hey, get out of here!
Oh my god, Danny DeVito, I love your work!
Shout out to Gabriel on my Discord for giving the idea and creating this tier list right here. This is all of the purple quality Holowear inside of Unite. I think there are other pieces of Holowear in the game that are actually pretty amazing that are not on this list. Sleepy Time Wiggly comes to mind, but this is all the top tier Holowear, and we are going to rank it here inside of our tier list. Our tiers for this week, our God tier. We're only gonna have one Pokemon in our God tier. We're not frickin' Norse around here. We've got our S tier, the silly good, my dude tier. We have the A tier, a legit crowd pleaser tier. We have the B tier. Ugh. Hate that, hate it. Still have the B tier. That sucks. We have our C tier, the could this be anymore meh tier, and our D tier, our Decidueye Memorial tier, a tier named after Decidueye because when it came to the game, it was so bad that it needed its own tier, and now it's no longer in this tier. Let's rate this Holowear. Let's start with the first Pokemon here on our list, and that is Venusaur. You can see this Holowear right here. This was a Battle Pass, I believe, this Venusaur Holowear. It's pretty dang good. It's not one of my favorites. I think we've evolved quite a bit since this has come to the game, but it's a really solid piece of Holowear. I think this is either B or A. Very, very good for Venusaur. It doesn't seem like it completely fits the vibe of this Pokemon. However, it's a really pretty piece of Holowear. I like it. I would say that this is, yeah, either B or A. Pretty good. I'm leaning B for this first piece of Holowear. By the way, I would love to hear your thoughts for all of this in the comments. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? Let me know. Charizard, the Night style Holowear for Charizard. Okay, here's the thing. This Night style Holowear is cool. The White Knight, I like it. You get a KO, you get a returning animation. It's not fully, okay. Why are we in a boxing ring in the background? I just feel like they didn't fully nail it with this one. And in fact, just because I think they could have done much better and Charizard deserves its own insane piece of Holowear, I have to put this one in the C tier. This is not one of my favorite purple Holowear. In fact, most of the time when I'm playing Charizard, I'm just playing sort of, what would you call it? Bonfire style hipster Charizard, even though I have the White Knight style Charizard. Blastoise, the Pokebuki style Blastoise, might be one of the best pieces of Holowear they've put into the game. I have a hard time not putting this up into A or S tier. I think it's one of the better pieces of Holowear inside Unite. Also, the KO and returning animations are pretty sick. Now let's talk about Sacred style Blastoise. I don't get it. Like, I kind of like it, I'm not gonna lie, but I don't get it. And I feel like it's just so much worse than the other Blastoise that I have to set it into a lower tier. It just doesn't really do it for me. Even though sometimes I do enjoy playing it, I feel like I play a lot of Blastoise. Squirtle is one of my favorite Pokemon in Pokemon, period. But I just don't even feel like, I don't know, I don't feel like I connect with this piece of Holowear at all. Moving on over to Pikachu, we have three kind of legendary purple things of Holowear for Pikachu. We've got blue Santa Pikachu, we've got other Santa Pikachu, red Santa Pikachu, I guess other. We've got sort of the skin version of this red Holowear. And then of course we have the Battle Pass for Pikachu, the band style Pikachu. I actually think all three of these are varying levels of pretty dang good. I would put band style Pikachu probably up here in the A tier. I think it's really solid, very cool Holowear. It feels like it does fit the aesthetic of Pikachu a lot. And then I think the first time they released Christmas style was a home run. I think that's an S tier piece of Holowear. I have to take blue style Pikachu Holowear, and I have to put it kind of in our lowest tier right here, just because, I mean, let's face it, it's kind of just a reskin of this awesome red one. It's not that it's bad, it's still really cool, but it feels like one of the, I don't know, one of the lazier Holowears that you could put out, and I'm sure we're gonna have green style this Christmas, and I'm sure I'm going to pick it up, but at the same time, I feel like they could have done so much more with this piece of Holowear. Clefable recently got this piece of Holowear added to the game, and I think it's pretty dang solid. I wouldn't say there's anything about it that's bad. You know, with a Pokemon like this, you don't always get the KO animations and stuff like that, which could be a little unfortunate, but I think the whole vibe of this is pretty dang cool. You also don't have a specific Unite animation. For that, I'm gonna set this into the B tier. Solid Holowear for this Pokemon, very cute, but at the same time, it doesn't do anything that kind of blows me away either. However, I do think it sort of fits the vibe of this Pokemon very well, which for me is an important aspect. Sacred Style Alolan Ninetales is actually a piece of Holowear that feels like it's up there with the quality of a Battle Pass, even though it was not a Battle Pass thing of Holowear. It has a special Unite move, scoring, returning, KO, movement, all of it. It also is the first piece of Holowear in the game that was really this high quality outside of a Battle Pass. I don't think it's an S tier for me, but I do think it's a really, really solid look for this Pokemon. Also, just the card there of its Holowear is freaking beautiful with the snow falling. I really like this setup right here. It feels interesting because Greninja is on sort of the same snowy bank right here, which we'll get to in a little bit. I do think this is a solid piece of Holowear for A9, especially because its Unite move has that special effect. All right, this Machamp Holowear is, honestly, it's so good. It feels like this Machamp Holowear, every piece of it is good. Also, am I able to see the pre-evolution appearance of it right here? Let me take a look. How am I able to pull that up? Okay, yeah, right here. Machamp. The level 1 Machamp is so cute. It's got the little tail sticking out of the gi. Like, I don't know. This Holowear really does it for me, you guys. I just love it. I think it's so good. There's something about just when you select it and you see him with the fist here in this moment. I think this is one of my favorite pieces of Holowear that's, you know, purple. I have to put it up in the S tier for me. I think it's so good. Slowbro, sadly, no legendary piece of Holowear, which is insane because it's one of the most picked Pokemon inside the game. I feel like people would geek over a top tier piece of Holowear for this Pokemon. Dodrio, don't even get me started. It has 3 hats, but it's not on our list. Space Suit Gengar. Something about this, and tell me if this makes sense to you. Something about Space Suit Gengar makes so much sense, and I don't even know why. I don't even know why. I don't think it's S tier Holowear, but it's right there. It's right there. And Ghastly in the little, I mean, you could almost put this as S tier, honestly. I don't even understand why this piece of Holowear is so good. It doesn't really make sense to me. I don't think it fits the character necessarily, but then it does. That's the weirdest thing about it, is it feels like, oh, this makes no sense. Actually, it makes the most sense. I think a very solid piece of Holowear. I'm putting it up in my A tier. Nothing for Blissey as we move over to Mr. Mime. Obviously, not only did this Holowear release at a time where Mr. Mime became the most powerful thing inside the game, it's also confusing. I don't get it. I guess there's a whole line of Holowear with this sort of ruined Celtic background, and they've all got, you know, loots and things like that. For whatever reason, I just really don't connect to this Holowear. It also reminds me of what happened with Mr. Mime. I have to put this one down in the C tier. It's got some cool stuff with it, but I'm just confused by it more than anything. Nothing for Scissor Scyther or Lapras, but we do have something here for Snorlax. We actually have 2 pieces of Holowear right here. We have Chef Snorlax, and then we have this martial arts style Snorlax. And let me be honest with you. I think Chef Snorlax is great. Solid A tier choice. I truly, for whatever reason, I don't vibe with martial arts style at all. I'm putting it really low on my list. You might like this style Holowear, but for whatever reason, this just does nothing for me. I get it. It's kind of cool. I think it might be cooler if it was just full on sumo. I actually like some of the more basic ones more. Like, I like Dad Bod Snorlax a lot more. I even like concert style a bit more. Cook style, however, they call it cook style because you need to let this Pokemon cook. I think this is kind of perfect Snorlax. Dragonite has 2 pieces of Holowear. We've got this style right here, which I don't even know what it's called, Champion style, and then we also have Marine style Dragonite. I don't know if there's a greater chasm between 2 pieces of Holowear inside of Pokemon Unite. Marine style is kind of cute, and it's got a cute hat. I'll give it up to the hat. I will give it up to the hat. Marine style has a cute hat. I don't know what to make of the rest of this. And Champion style is one of the better pieces of Holowear inside of Pokemon Unite. For me, this is an S tier piece of Holowear, especially the return animation where he sits on the stool and boxes the face. Marine style, I have to put it all the way at the bottom just because I'm comparing the 2 at this point. And for me, it doesn't come close. It just does not come close. Mew debuted with a piece of Battle Pass Holowear, and it was this. Guys, I'm sorry. Feel free to, look, hey, come at me in the comments. I do not get this line of Holowear. It just doesn't vibe for me. I'm putting it in the C tier. It's not that it's bad. I mean, it does have the largest shoes of all time, but I don't know. It doesn't really click for me. This Holowear, this series of Holowear really just doesn't click for me. Now we'll get onto the Cowboy Holowear. I'll give them all S tier. But no, for real, there's just something about it. I don't know. I don't vibe with it super hard. Punk style Azumarill is the next Holowear up on our list. This Holowear is good a little confusing. It was around the time when they were putting in, multiple music styles. You had the Zara Aura, the Pikachu, etc. I don't fully even get it, but I do have to say I do like it. I'm going to put it up into my B tier. I think it's solid. There does seem to be something nice about when you're using this and you get the KOs and you can see the sound waves popping off. If this had a Unite animation, if there was something special that happened when you united here, I think this would be a pretty high tier piece of Holowear. Right now, very solid B tier for me. Espeon, I don't know what it is about circus style. It's hard to divorce the fact that you have this Holowear and then you also have this Pokemon being as good as it is. You also have the Pokebuki style, I believe it is, and I actually liked this when it was released also. However, this gives you a special Unite move animation. I think both of these are solid. I'm going to put this as an A tier here. I'm going to put Pokebuki as B. I actually like a lot of the Pokebuki style for these Pokemon. I just feel like there's something about this aesthetic that really fits a lot of them. Nothing for Mamoswine or T-Tar, even though he's looking pretty good in that hat. We've got Gardevoir with actually 2 pieces of Holowear. You've got essentially the Let It Go Frozen style piece of Holowear, and then you also have, I believe it's called its Sacred style. Yeah, you have its Sacred style. The only real difference here in effects is the Battle Pass Holowear does give you a Unite move. I think this is really solid Holowear. In fact, I think both of them are really solid. I like them both a lot. I'm going to put them both in my A tier. Really good choices, and even though the Sacred style does not have the Unite move, I just think it's a really stylish looking piece of Holowear, and I feel like it really fits Gardevoir, if that makes sense. This just feels like very much Gardevoir style. Absol, this was one of the cooler battle passes. It's not a cowboy, it's supposed to be some sort of musician, but it's got, I don't know, there's just something about this. I feel like they really nailed this piece of Holowear. It doesn't fully make it into the S tier for me, but I feel like they really nailed this. The Unite move's good. The gold bars when you're recalling is so good. I'm gonna put this one as an A tier choice. I think it's really, really solid. Nothing for Garchomp, which seems kind of crazy, and then we have 2 for Lucario, which is not surprising. Okay. People might really disagree with me here. I don't know what it is about this costume party style. I don't know why it makes so much sense to me, and it feels like it is sort of a Halloween costume. You have the Ruin style, which is cool, but I don't know. There's something about throwing a pumpkin for its Unite move and then going home on a pumpkin that I just think is better. I think it's really solid. This is A tier for me. And then I think the Rune style, almost called it Sacred style, is fine. It doesn't really set the world on fire. It's not hokey, I feel like maybe like Mimes or something like that. But it doesn't really do a ton for me. For some reason, okay, I really want to hear from you in the comments. Tell me if I'm wrong. This style is Power Up Punch, and this style is Extreme Speed. Why is that? I don't know, but I firmly believe that. If you're playing Extreme Speed, it's Ruin style. If you're playing Power Up Punch, it's Costume Party style. I want to hear from you in the comments. Let me know. Nothing for Glaceon yet as we head on over into Crustal. Crustal has a couple good pieces of Holowear, and I think this one is actually pretty good. It's your giant cake with bells on. Somehow though, I do think it's overshadowed by the fact that this other one is just a giant shrine, and that's insane. And I don't know. Because of that, I'm going to put this as a B tier piece of Holowear. It's really good, but you're kind of outshined by another piece of Holowear in a confusing way. It's just, I can't even explain why this is good, but it's so good. And I think that hurts cake style Crustal a little bit. Cake. Zoroark is not on our list, but we talked about Ghost Style Zoroark earlier. This is such a beautiful piece of Holowear. I'd probably put it S tier. Just the recall animations, the KO, the Unite move, it's so cool. It's just like, it's cool. I don't have it on this list, but it's so cool. Delphox. I thought this was a really awesome piece of Holowear for Delphox. It does feel like something about this piece of Holowear really fits for this Pokemon as well. And I like when it feels like I can really envision them in this style. This would either be S or A tier for me. It might even be S tier. I think this is really good. For some reason, there's something holding me back. There's just like a piece of me that won't put this into the S tier. I don't know what I'm gonna set this in A for now, but I do think this is an awesome piece of Holowear for Delphox. Maybe it's S tier and I'm not being fair. I don't know. Greninja has two pieces of Holowear on this list, and we've got the Wanderer style as well as the Costume Party style. For some reason, the Costume Party here on Greninja, I don't feel like it fully hits me as Costume Party, and I have to compare it to this. I think this hat, this is like one of the best hats of all time. I don't know what to make of it. This hat is so good. I feel like it's almost criminal not to put Wanderer style Greninja in the S tier, and I'm going to do it. I think it's one of the most perfect. It just feels perfect for this Pokemon. I love this piece of Holowear for Greninja. And then, however, the Costume Party, I feel like it just doesn't really do much for me. It's not bad at all, but I don't know. I'm really not in love with this one. Maybe if its Unite move did something cool, like threw a giant pumpkin, I'd be more interested. I'm gonna put this as a B tier. However, Wanderer style for me is an S tier piece of Holowear. Sableye, Performer style Sableye. Yes, this is so yes that I'm just saying yes over and over again. This is S tier for me. I'm sorry, but this feels like it's pretty Holowear, and it also feels like it's nailing what this Pokemon is about. I love it. I'm so glad it didn't come out when Sableye was busted, because I'd be so tired of seeing this over and over again. But this for me is top tier Holowear. I love it. Talonflame just got a new piece of Holowear, but we're talking about one of the original top tier pieces of Holowear, Pilot style Talonflame. I don't think this is S tier, but at the same time, maybe it is. It just feels like they've really nailed Talonflame. Pilot style Talonflame. It feels like it's perfect. There's that moment where you go, we threw a hat on this thing, and it's the exact right hat that this Pokemon can wear. Because of that, this is either A or S tier. It feels like it's been around so long that part of me is sort of just maybe a little more tired of it than I would be. However, I think they absolutely nailed this. This is probably S. It's just so this Pokemon, and I think I have to put that as a top tier choice. Nothing for our buddy Aegislash, except you got to admit, having some floaties on is super cute. Sylveon got a Battle Pass piece of Holowear, and I do think this kind of feels like the vibe of Sylveon, but I don't know, there's something about this that doesn't fully hit to S tier for me. In fact, sometimes I just feel like it's maybe even closer to B. I hate to say it. I'm going to put this one as an A tier choice. Having a Battle Pass style Holowear that has special, KO and returning. I think the thing that really sets this apart for me is its return animation, where it jumps up a staircase to go home. If it wasn't for that, this would be hanging out in the B tier. Instead, I'm going to put it right up there in my A tier. Nothing for Goodra yet, as we have Travis Presley. I mean, yeah. I'm not even gonna, I mean, are you serious? Are you serious? Are you serious? If you don't think this is S tier Holowear, you need to re-examine everything that's going on in your life. You need to sit down with a pad and a piece of paper, and you need to write out what's happening in your life, because your life is a disaster right now. You need to fix it. You need to get your head on straight. This is one of the best pieces of Holowear of all time. Of all time. Nothing for our buddy Hoopa yet, as Decidueye does have this really cool piece of Holowear, the Ninja style. The thing about this Holowear, it doesn't have a special Unite move, which I think would make this even better. Imagine, just for a second, imagine where this Holowear would be if instead of just its regular Unite move, instead of just shooting arrows, it was throwing shurikens. Imagine. Let's all take a moment to imagine while Jake sips on an energy drink. Hashtag not sponsored. I think this is amazing, but without its Unite move, it does fall a little short of my S tier. I'm going to put it up in A. Really, really good. However, again, something with the Unite move, and this goes way up. However, the return animation is so good. A little log drop. It's so good. It's so good. Look at the pre-evos, by the way. The freaking headband on Rowlet? Come on. All right, Zarina. You know, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about Zarina. I think this is a good piece of Holowear, but it feels like it just came out at the worst time for this Pokemon. And even though it's awesome, I barely even feel like I see it or get to use it. I'm gonna put this as a B tier piece of Holowear, but honestly, it could even border into the C. It feels into the C, as it's a captain style, and the C is all around it. I don't know what it is. I think I'm more reacting to Zarina than I'm reacting to this piece of Holowear. That's what I think it is. I'm just thinking more about Zarina than this piece of Holowear, but it doesn't really set the world on fire for me. Nothing for Comfey, thank goodness. As we move into Buzzwole. Buzzwole's Holowear is awesome, and but this like intro screen for it is kind of the best thing ever. Like how cool is this? It's so cool. I think there's something about the outfit that it's wearing that maybe doesn't really do that much, but everything else about it is awesome. For me, this is an A tier piece of Holowear. All right, Zara Aura, we've got two. We've got this Western style Holowear that I'm not just gonna put in the S tier because it has a cowboy hat, even though I think it's freaking awesome. And look at him chase down Greedon here. There's something about Greedon that all of these Pokemon want to chase. Here is maybe the best part about this. You know what? Dang, I might put this S tier. Dang, I might. Okay. It's good. It feels like it fits this Pokemon. Let's look at its other one too. Band style Zara Aura. I also think this vibe feels like it definitely fits the style of Zara Aura. There's something about this Frontier style where it does feel, especially at the time this was released, Zara Aura was pretty dang strong, it felt like. It does feel like a solid theme for this Pokemon, but it doesn't feel like it actually nails the vibe as much as Band style does. However, the KO animation to give you the wanted poster is probably the best. I don't think there's any KO animation that comes close. And for this KO animation alone, I am going to set it up into the S tier. And in fact, I'm going to set the other one into A tier. I think these are two really good pieces of Holowear for Zara Aura. I think they do a great service to this Pokemon. If it wasn't for the wanted poster KO, this does not make it up into the S tier for me. But because of that, I think it does. All right, Cinderace has two. Captain style Cinderace, that old school early Captain style, I think this is really good. I do. However, there is something so good about Super Suit style. Even though it does not have the special Unite move, something about this actually screams like perfect Cinderace to me, as opposed to the other one that I think is very good. I'm going to put Captain style as A tier. I'm going to put this Cinderace style as an S tier. I feel like they really nailed Cinderace right here. It's just so cool. It's so cool and cute, and you get the big KO animation with it. I really love this piece of Holowear for Cinderace. I think it's so good. Greedon has this holiday style, tree style as they call it, Greedon. And I gotta be honest, I think it's really cute, but it does not get up into the highest levels of Holowear for me. I actually think the Frontier style for Greedon feels more like Greedon to me. There's something about this look, just this prospectory look to it that feels more Greedent than sort of this tree style, even though this is very fun and you kind of feel like a little rascal as you're playing it. I'm going to put this one as a B tier. I love Greedent, but this one just doesn't make it to the top tier for me. And we have no Holowear for Eldegoss, Duraludon, Dragapult, Zacian, and Urshifu that makes it into this purple tier. We have one final piece of Holowear, and that is Cowboy Cram. Cowboy Cram doesn't fully fit. I don't think anything. I mean, I think with Cram, you'd probably do one of those beach styles where it's got a snorkeler or something like that. It's got a snorkel. It doesn't have a snorkeler. You also don't pick up something special in your mouth. I think if this Holowear had you pick up, instead of Pikachu, there was something else in your mouth, it could be a higher tier of Holowear for me. This feels like it's a perfect marriage of what I needed and Cramorant at the time, but I don't think there's anything about it that is the absolute best outside of its KO animation, which is again is that you know, beautiful wanted poster. I'm gonna put this sadly as a B tier choice, even though I know some people could say, Jake, I can't believe you wouldn't put this as an S tier or A tier. It just really doesn't make it that high for me. And now it's time to choose our God tier piece of Holowear. I'm really trying to look at this list and see what I feel like is the best piece of Holowear in Pokemon Unite. I gotta be like, right off the bat, a few kind of jump to mind, okay? I think Dragonites is one of the best piece of Holowear in the game. I really do. I think Elvis Presley, something about it feels just so perfect and so amazing. Christmas Pikachu, Blastoise as well, and maybe Greninja. Like, these are the ones in my mind I'm going between as the best pieces of Holowear inside of Pokemon Unite. If I have to drop some right away, I think I'd drop Greninja, just because while it's amazing, it doesn't have that Battle Pass extra flair to it. You could say the same thing about Trevenant, but it's just too good. It's too dang good. There's something about the Pikachu. So here's where I'm at. Here's the hardest thing for me. I feel like there's something about the Pikachu that just, it also reminds me of that first season of Pokemon Unite. There's so much excitement. It's lighting up the Christmas tree. Like, let me bring this back for everybody right here. It's lighting up the Christmas tree. There's just something so perfect about this. And it just felt, I don't know. It's so wholesome. It's so warm. You've got the fire around it. It's Santa Pikachu. I don't know. This is such a hard one to beat for me. Blastoise is also so good. Like, Blastoise's Holowear is so good. I feel like its Unite move, its return animation. Pikachu returns. Pikachu goes up into the air on a sleigh. All right, I know my answer. As controversial as this may be, for me, I do think it's Christmas Pikachu. It is. It's just so good. I'm sorry, it's so good. That's my God tier choice. No reason to mix around this tier list. What's the frickin' point? As I get rid of my camera on accident. Do 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 do. Boop 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 boop. The problem is, Trevenant and Elvis Presley, they don't connect at all, so I don't even understand why. Like, people like this Holowear, it's not good. Zara Aura with a cowboy hat, dumb. I will never say Sableye is good Holowear. And then Blue Pikachu crushes Red Pikachu. Blue is a better color than Red. We all know this. It's just like a perfect setup. They nail it. The only thing that comes close is Mr. Mime. There's just something about this Mr. Mime that is the most perfect version of Mr. Mime that exists. This is Mr. Mime. When you think of Mr. Mime, you think of this right here. This is Mr. Mime to me. Nothing comes close at all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I love you. I hope you enjoyed this tier list. I'll see y'all next time.